Okay, welcome to Teal House Farm. It's Canning Pantry Tuesday. Micah here is working diligently on Annie's birthday cake. We had a cake here that wouldn't come out of the pan, so Isla is decorating that. You're doing great, Goobs.
On the bottom.
Oh, well, I think it looks beautiful. You did great. And Pat's just causing chaos being half naked. So we will show you their finished products when they're done here. But first, we're going to do some cooking from the canning pantry. So I'm going to make some mega-head quesadillas. I'm going to have some for my dinner tonight. I already fed all the kids. I was doing a lot of deep cleaning today, and so I fed them dinner while I was mopping all the floors so that they were not running and slipping on the floors. And so now I'm going to make my dinner. So I'm going to make some vegetable quesadillas. But I'm going to make a whole bunch, and I'm going to freeze them. This is the part, too, where I remind you that I am exactly 0% Hispanic or any cultural identification that would mean that I grew up eating quesadillas. So this is how I make them, and I'm not going to home make the tortillas. I'm just going to use tortillas from the store. And let me show you what else we need. So you obviously need cheese. I'm going to just use cheddar. It's what I got. Mexican cheese works fine. Colby Jack. And then from the canning pantry, I have some home canned black beans, home canned spinach, some mixed non-spicy peppers, and I don't have any home canned tomatoes, but I have a thing of store-bought tomatoes. Okay, and then for a side, just for tonight, I'm going to stir-fry some of these onions and some of my home canned zucchini. Super hot, fast, and butter with some, maybe some salt and pepper. I'll figure out what spices I want to do. It'll make too much for just me, so I'll put the leftovers in the fridge, and then I'll have it with some of the leftover quesadillas for lunch tomorrow. So super easy. So we're using a lot of things from our canning pantry today, and it's going to go really fast, and we're going to have extra quesadillas in the freezer, which is going to be great, because I find a lot of times if Sam's not home for lunch, which is most days, I'll usually make the kids lunch. They always want to eat lunch at like 11, and I'm just not hungry by then, so they eat their lunch, and then I usually like to eat my lunch when they're taking their naps, so more like noon, and so I'll have something that's really easy to heat up just for me so I don't have to cook again. All right, let's get started. First thing, let's get our jars open. So we're gonna open up these tomatoes, and at this point I realized that these weren't plain tomatoes because I could smell it as soon as I opened it. These are Italian tomatoes. So we're gonna pivot a bit. I already opened the jar, I don't wanna waste them, so I'm gonna use them with the zucchini instead of in my quesadillas. Go ahead and open the zucchini and drain. Make sure you drain the zucchini super well, it really retains the water. We got a half pint of just mixed bell peppers, we drain those. We have a half pint of spinach, which you need to drain, and you have to kind of squeeze when you drain because it really retains that water as well. And then we have our half pint of diced onions. And then we're going to need to rinse and drain the beans just like you would do with a store-bought can of beans. They get that kind of gooey protein liquid all over them. So we're going to get them into this strainer, and we're going to rinse them under some cold water, get them nice and drained. We're going to combine our filling for the quesadillas just in a bowl here. So I have my black beans. I ended up adding the onions in there, the peppers, the spinach. I kind of pull the spinach apart with my fingers so the pieces are smaller. We're again going to leave the tomatoes out, and I don't have any plain tomatoes at home in the pantry, so we're just going to do it without tomatoes, and it'll be just fine. So I can fit 4 quesadillas on a cookie sheet. I'm going to make 8 total. We're going to first lay down the tortillas and some cheddar cheese. And then we're going to add our quesadilla topping, which I just kind of mix up with my fingers. And then I plop it all around the inside of the quesadillas on top of the cheddar cheese. You can really add any kind of vegetables you like. You could definitely add some meat too if you want. Just grabbing what's quick and easy. And I wanted some vegetarian ones. I like to try to not eat meat every meal. This is what they look like when they're all topped. And then we have to add the top tortilla to close them up. Again, we're going to make 8 total, so I figure I'll eat about 3 triangles a meal, so that's somewhere between half and 3/4 of one of these quesadillas. So this is actually going to make quite a bit of extra food in the freezer, which will be great to have on hand. Quesadillas are nice because they're not crumbly like a sandwich, but they're easy to eat one-handed when you're taking care of the kids. We're going to put them in the oven. I'm going to use both racks in the oven on 350 for about 8 minutes. We're going to get our big 10-inch cast iron pan ready. I put in a pat of butter, about 2 to 3 cloves worth of minced garlic, and we brown that in the butter for a second, and then add our can of Italian tomatoes. We're going to add another half pint of onions, since I ended up putting one in the quesadillas, And then obviously our zucchini as well. And since the tomatoes are already spiced, I'm just gonna add some salt and pepper since the tomatoes already have a nice flavor to them. Mix it up really well. And it looks like that. It's kind of like a stewed tomato. Our quesadillas are ready. You want them a little golden brown around the edges and crispy to the touch on top, but you definitely don't want to burn them. Let's go ahead and serve it up. All in all, our tomato, zucchini, onion mixture cooked about 5 minutes at kind of a bubbly simmer, and that helped to evaporate the reserved liquid. I find the easiest way to cut quesadillas is with scissors, so I use my kitchen scissors here to get them cut into some triangles. And I like them with a little bit of sour cream to dip them in, so we'll put that on the side. And we're pretty much ready to eat. Okay, pretty simple. So the tomatoes are still a little bit runny. I'm just really hungry, so I don't want to wait. So I'm actually cooking them down a little bit more for what I'm putting in the fridge, but this will be fine for tonight. I just want to eat dinner. I've been trying to make this dinner for like an hour and a half. It's just been really busy with the kids. So with the quesadillas now, to freeze them, we're gonna let them cool off a bit, and then I'll show you how to get them stacked correctly in the freezer so that they don't all stick together. And then we'll talk about how to warm them up. You ready? Yes. Here it is. Oh, that's so pretty. Would you like a piece of your cake to eat? Or you want to save it?
I'm going to save it for the pot.
Okay, we'll cover it and save it. Okay, so for freezing, I cut them into quarters and then I froze them on these cookie sheets. You don't want to just cut them and stuff them in a bag. They will stick together. You will never get them apart. So by pre-freezing them, now when we put them in a bag, they won't all stick together. So I like to keep old bread bags from like loaves of bread. So that's what we're gonna use, and we're gonna throw all of these just in a pile in an old bread bag and put them back in the freezer. That's it. You can use just a bread bag tie. I keep those two in a pile and we'll tie it closed and just put it back in the freezer. And then when we're ready to eat one, we'll take out, 2 or 3 triangles, put them on a plate, and put them in the microwave for probably about a minute. You'd want to check your microwave. Microwaves have different powers, but that'll warm it right up and it'll be ready to eat.